Long before the great war of the Mahabharata began, before the rise of the Pandavas and the Kauravas, another story was unfolding in silence. A story of destiny, a story of secrecy, and the birth of a child who would one day become one of the greatest warriors in history. His name was Karna. But his story began with a young princess named Kunti. Kunti was kind, intelligent, and deeply devoted to duty. From a young age, she was known for her humility and respect toward others. One day, a powerful sage named Durvasa came to stay at her father's palace. Durvasa was no ordinary sage. He was known across the land for his immense spiritual power and also for his terrible temper. Even kings feared making him angry. But Kunti served him with patience and care. She brought him food, prepared his room, and treated him with complete respect. Day after day, she never complained. The sage watched her quietly, and before leaving the palace, he said, "Kunti,
your devotion has pleased me. As a blessing, I give you a sacred mantra.
Your devotion has pleased me. As a blessing, I give you a sacred mantra.
With this mantra, you may call upon any god, and that God will bless you with a child carrying divine powers.
With this mantra, you may call upon any god, and that god will bless you with a child carrying divine powers." Kunti listened in amazement.
A mantra? That could summon the gods themselves?
A mantra that can summon the gods themselves, she thought. At first, she treated the gift carefully. But Kunti was still young, curious, and innocent. One morning, as golden sunlight filled her room, she stood near the window and looked toward the rising sun. Its light felt warm, powerful, almost alive. A thought entered her mind.
Can the mantra truly work? Maybe I should try it one.
Can the mantra truly work? She hesitated. Maybe I should try it once. Not out of desire, not out of greed, only curiosity. Slowly, Kunti closed her eyes and whispered the sacred mantra.
Om Ram Rim Ram Surya.
The air around her began to change. The wind became still. Golden light filled the room. And suddenly, before her stood Surya, the sun god himself, radiant, powerful, divine.
Kunti.
Kunti stepped back in fear, her hands trembling.
I thought I was only testing the mantra.
My lord, I did not mean. I was only testing the mantra. But Surya spoke calmly.
The mantra cannot be called in vain. You summoned me, Kunti, and now destiny must follow its path. And now destiny must follow its path.
The mantra cannot be called in vain. You summoned me, Kunti, and now destiny must follow its path. Kunti's heart pounded with fear.
I am not married. What will happen to me?
I am not married, she whispered. What will happen to me? In those times, an unmarried woman having a child would face shame and rejection from society. Kunti felt trapped between divine destiny and human fear. Seeing her distress, Surya's voice softened.
Do not be afraid. You shall remain pure and honored, and the child born from this blessing will be extraordinary.
Do not be afraid. You shall remain pure and honored, and the child born from this blessing will be extraordinary. A warm golden light surrounded Kunti, and in time she gave birth to a baby boy. The child was unlike any other. From the moment he was born, he carried divine armor upon his body and shining golden earrings. They were gifts from the gods themselves. Kunti held the baby close, tears filling her eyes. He was beautiful, innocent, her son. For a moment, nothing else mattered. But slowly, fear returned.
What will people say? How can I protect him?
What will people say? How can I protect him? She was alone, too young to fight the judgment of the world around her. For days and nights, Kunti struggled with her heart. A mother's love pulled her one way, fear pulled her another. Then came the moment that would haunt her forever. With trembling hands and tearful eyes, Kunti placed the baby inside a small wooden basket lined with soft cloth. The child looked up at her peacefully, unaware of the storm inside her mother's heart. Kunti broke down in tears. "Forgive me," she whispered softly. "I am doing this so you may live." Carefully, she carried the basket to the river, the same river that had witnessed countless destinies before. The water flowed gently beneath the morning light. Kunti held the basket tightly for one final moment, a mother trying desperately not to let go. Then, slowly, she placed the basket onto the river. The current carried the child across the waters of destiny. Until finally, the basket was discovered by a humble charioteer named Adirafa and his wife Radha.
Radha, look.
A child. He's perfect.
The couple had no children of their own. When Radha saw the glowing child inside the basket, her eyes filled with wonder.
It is a gift from the gods.
"It is a gift from the gods," she whispered. With love and gratitude, they adopted the baby as their own son, and they named him Karna, the child born with divine power, yet raised in an ordinary home, a child abandoned by destiny, but protected by fate. As Karna grew older, the world would judge him not by his birth, but by his talent. And deep within his heart, a fire would begin to grow, a fire that would one day change the course of the Mahabharata forever. Because the abandoned child floating upon the river would become one of the greatest warriors the world had ever seen. But greatness does not always walk beside happiness, and Karna's journey was only just beginning. But far away from the river, destiny was preparing something even greater. In the kingdom of Hastinapur, two families would soon rise, one born of honor, the other consumed by jealousy. The world would come to know them as the Pandavas and the Kauravas, brothers raised together, but destined to become enemies. And hidden among them was the secret of Karna's true birth, a secret powerful enough to change everything. But what happens when destiny brings abandoned sons, royal heirs, and growing rivalry together? That is where our story continues next.